Hello everyone, my name's JC and this is my criminal profile on Theodore Bundy, also known as Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was an infamous criminal in the 20th century. He was born in Burlington, Vermont on November 24th, 1946. He was an American serial killer, rapist, and necrophiliac. A quote from Ted Bundy: "I used to see a good-looking girl one minute, I'd be thinking how nice it would be to go out with her, and the next minute I'd be thinking how nice her head would look on a stick." Between 1984 and 1989, Detective Robert Capel recorded 36 hours of interviews with Ted Bundy. This is his family. They lived in Philadelphia. Louise Cowell was Ted's mother, and his father was allegedly his grandfather. Louise got pregnant with Ted without a husband present, so she was sent to a home for unwed mothers in Vermont. Since it was inappropriate to be a mother with no husband, Ted was raised with his mother being his sister and his grandparents being his parents. Once Ted was older, his mother told him he was a product of rape. Ted's mother didn't believe anything she was informed by the police of Ted's convictions. Growing up, Ted's life was fueled by abuse and violence. His grandfather was mentally ill and saw no other way but to punish those around him. When Ted was 3, he was fascinated with knives. He was a very shy but bright child, and he did good with friends, but not good with school, but not good with his friends. When Ted was a teenager, the dark side came out. He liked to peer into people's windows, and he thought stealing was not a big deal. If Ted wanted something, he should get it, he thought. Ted's mom married a man named Johnny Bundy, May 19th, 1951. Life growing up for Ted was not easy. He was a very petite boy and wore short shorts and was teased a lot by the other children in the neighborhood. Up top, this woman on the left-hand side is Sandy Holt, his neighbor from age 5 to 15. She said that Ted had a speech impediment, which she thinks was a result from the abuse he suffered from his grandfather. She says, "Ted was very odd. He liked to terrify people, be in charge, and inflict pain, fear, and suffering." Ted had told Sandy's older brother that his grandpa liked to beat him and call him names. Some relationships Ted had. In 1969, Ted started a 6-year relationship with Elizabeth Clover, as you can see on the top left. He met her in Seattle, and she had a young daughter. Elizabeth said this to reporters that Ted had said to her: "I just can't live a normal life. I'm preoccupied by a force." Elizabeth had gone twice to the police to tell them that she thought Ted was the killer, and they did not believe her. In August 1974, Ted was accepted into law school at the University of Utah. He graduated from University of Washington with a degree in psychology. He met a friend named Larry Anderson, as you can see under that picture, that man. Larry says that Ted was very outgoing and friendly, and most importantly, a great cook. The ladies absolutely adored him. Ted fell in love with a wealthy woman from California in his early life who had the life Ted wanted: money, class, influence. He was devastated by their breakup, and many of Ted's victims now looked like his ex that broke his heart. In 1980, Ted married Carol Ann Boone, who's a long-term friend, as you can see at the top right. She thought Ted was completely innocent and just had a kid with him in 1982, but then she saw that Ted must be guilty because she has seen his demonic side come out, and she divorced him and then wrote a book called A Stranger Beside Me. In Janice Ott, as you can see on the left, Ted went to a popular lake, Sammamish, one day. He was dressed very clean in white clothing. He approached Janice with a sling on his arm and said that he needed her to come help him load his sailboat. So he convinced her to leave her spot and go to his car, where then he convinced her to go to a third location, and that is where his sailboat was, and he killed her. Later that day, he returned back to the same park and kidnapped Denise Nasland on your left in Issaquah, Washington, 6 miles from the lake. That's where Ted would dump most of the remains from his victims. This is where bones such as jaw and skull were found, as well as blonde and black hair around the area. Ted was not incompetent. He read enough about cases in the newspaper to know exactly what he was doing. He studied mistakes that others had made and made sure not to make the same ones himself. At any of his crime scenes, he made sure to leave the least amount of evidence. He knew about fingerprints and fibers. He made sure to throw any pieces of evidence that he had out his car window as he drove away from the scene. He thought there's always trash on the side of the road and no one thinks anything of it. Why would they think anything of this? Ted kidnapped Georgina Hawkins on June 11, 1975. Nancy Wilcott, age 16, disappears October 2nd. Melissa Smith, age 17, disappears October 18th. Laura Aim, age 17, disappears October 31st. The remains of Janice, Denise, and Georgina were found by a grouse hunter 1 mile off an old railroad just outside of Issaquah, Washington. One night, Ted and a few of his friends were all having drinks and some food, and they had seen the article and the sketch of a man who was going around killing women in the newspaper. Since there was a sketch of the man, they all decided to hold up the picture beside their faces to see if any of them looked like him as a joke. And they all did that, and none of them looked like him, not even Ted. And Ted said this after their little joke. Well, I know how a person could get away with this. You could kill a person in one county, throw her body in another one, her clothing in a third county, tools or whatever in another, and no one would ever communicate. In an interview, Larry says that his friends just thought that this was funny because it was a hilarious thing for Ted to say, but looking back now, he thinks that Ted was taunting them and basically saying, I've done this and you can't even take a hint. Carol DeRanche, age 18, was kidnapped by Ted when he came up to her in the mall pretending he was an undercover cop and managed to convince her to come to his car because after all, he was a cop. But then Carol got a sick feeling in her stomach when she was in Ted's car, so she tried to start escaping him when he put a handcuff on her and smoked her in the head, but she was still able to get away from him. And she says, I knew he was going to kill me. His face and the way he was acting was just crazy. As I said, she did escape him and she was able to describe to police what he looked like. When Ted was in Salt Lake City, 6 months after the remains were discovered in Issaquah, Washington, the remains of 4 other women were discovered. Linda Healy, age 21, Suzanne Rancourt, age 18, Roberta Parks, age 22, and Brenda Ball, age 22. They were found on Taylor Mountain in Washington. Their skeletal remains showed severe blunt force trauma. February 15th, David Lee, a patrolman with the Pensacola Police Department, noticed a car loitering. He ran the plates and found out that this car was stolen, so he pulled it over, and inside the car was Ted, and of course he refused to give the officer his name and registration and resisted arrest, but the officer was able to subdue Ted and arrested him and brought him back to the station where Bundy gave a stolen ID. Bruce Ludwig was Ted's defense attorney in 1975. Ted was charged with evading PO, possession of tools, and burglary. In Ted's trunk, there was a black ski mask, pantyhose, mask, rope, ice pick, plastic bags, and handcuffs. When Ted was on trial for murders, he was interviewed by many reporters, and they asked how he felt about the justice system, and this was his reply. I'm sure it works, or else you'd be reduced to some kind of, mumbling idiot. So I think things are going to work out. On February 23rd, when Carol DeRanche, as you can see on the left, was asked to speak in the courtroom about the events between her and Bundy, she said that he was very arrogant in the courtroom and had a smirk on his face the whole time. And his defense team questioned her morals. Ted had recently joined a church before his arrest, and he had the whole Mormon ward for support. 40 members of the new congregation had joined and signed a card for Ted, as you can see in the middle. In October 1976, Ted was charged with Carol Campbell's murder. He abducted her in Snowmass, Colorado, at an inn. 36 days later, her nude body was discovered with blows to the head. January 1977, Ted was moved to Aspen, where he would face the charges for Carol's murder. In May 1977, he pleaded not guilty for Karen's murder. Ted was his own litigant since he had his background in the law. He was able to go into the law library as any other person would be able to. One day he was unsupervised in there and he jumped from the 2-story window and only twisted his ankle. He was a free man for 5 days. and a deputy sheriff describes Ted says, I considered Ted Bundy capable of anything. He was sharp, liked to play games. He was as charming as a cockroach. On June 13th, 1977, Ted was informed of his new charges. Escape, second-degree burglary, misdemeanor theft, and felony theft. If he was convicted, he would get 90 years in Garfield County, Colorado prison. When Ted's friend Larry visited him in his restricted jail cell, Ted said that he'd be able to crawl through the vent in the ceiling if he lost some weight. Larry never told anyone about this conversation and says he regrets it deeply. On December 31st, 1977, 6 months after Ted's first escape from the courthouse, he hacked out a light fixture, crawled through a 12-inch by 12-inch hole, and escaped for the second time. January 1st, 1978, Ted escaped again from the Garfield County Jail in Colorado, and he hitchhiked, took planes, trains all through Denver, Chicago, Atlanta, and Tallahassee, Florida. The FBI had to put him on the world's 10 most wanted list. On January 14th, 1978, Ted had been on the run for 14 days. In 1978, around 3 a.m. at Chi Omega sorority near Florida State, Ted Bundy decided to pay an unsolicited visit. Sorority sisters Kathy Klein, 21, Margaret Bowman, and Lisa Levy, 21, all suffered attacks from Ted. Kathy, at the top left, was the only one to survive. Kathy says, I remember hearing someone come into our room and seeing a dark figure. It was just evil. Ted went on a rampage in the Chi Omega sorority. He also left a bite mark on Lisa Levy's bed. Ken Castro, a sheriff, described the night that Ted attacked all these girls as a demon with a rampage having a frenzy. If Ted could, he would have killed every girl in that sorority house. And Ken said that if he could, he'd do anything he can to make sure this never happened to anyone ever again. 25 days later, Ted kidnapped a 12-year-old girl named Kimberly from school and murdered her. February 15th, Ted was arrested for driving a stolen vehicle. Suspicions on Ted had been growing rapidly, but he left behind a fatal evidence at the sorority that night with a bite mark on Lisa Levy's body. Dr. Richard, a forensic dentist, wanted to get a hold of Ted's mouth. Once he did this, they figured that this would be enough evidence. Before the examination, this was the conversation that went on between Dr. Richard and Ted. Dr. Richard said, I'm going to put this tray in your mouth now. You're not going to bite me, are you, Mr. Bundy? And Ted replied back, no, I'm not a very violent man. This evidence was presented to the jury when they made their decision. After seeing this, Ted didn't say anything. July 8, 1978, Ted Bundy was indicted for the murders of the Chi Omega sorority sisters. The police in Washington started building cases against Bundy in connection with the murders in their jurisdiction. Due to lack of evidence in Washington, Bundy was tried first in Florida for the Chi Omega sorority murders in July 31st, 1979. In May 1979, Ted rejected a plea deal which would have excused him from the death penalty if he pleaded guilty for the murders of Margaret, Lisa, and Kimberly. In July, Ted was found guilty of the murders of Margaret Bowman, Lisa Levy, and attempted murders of Kathy Klein and Karen Chandler. Ted Bundy was on death row for 9 years. During this time, law enforcement agents from across the USA interviewed him about 100 different unsolved murders. Ted started confessing on his last days before the electric chair. He did confess to over 30 murders. Ted was only convicted for the murders of Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy and Kimberly Leach. In Florida State Prison, January 24th, 1989 at 7 a.m., Ted Bundy died in the electric chair. Outside of the prison, there's protesters with signs, cheering, drinking beer, and filled with relief that this evil monster was finally being brought to an end. Kathy says, I just cried when I heard the news. I cried for Lisa and Margaret. I didn't cry for my pain. It was just for them. Carol says, I remember being happy. I had a party with friends. He was an evil monster. And this is just a picture. I thought everyone should take a moment to look at all these young women that were killed by Ted Bundy.